Hey guys, today we are talking about solving square root equations. Now we've learned how to solve a lot of different types of equations. We've learned how to solve linear, absolute value. We've learned how to solve quadratic equations. Well, today we're learning about our really fourth type, which is square root equations. Now the way this works is the same as every way. We're just looking for our opposite operation, our inverse operation. Remember, like plus and minus are inverse operations. Multiplication and division are inverse operations. And squaring and square rooting are inverse operations. So, like here, I have the square root of 7x minus 17 equals 5. My first step in each one of these problems is to isolate the radical term, the square root term. And right there, I have that square root isolated. It's by itself. There's nothing else on that side of the equation. Secondly, we're going to raise both sides to the power of the index. Raise it to the power of the index. Now, there's an invisible index here, and it's squaring it, right? It's a square root. And so that index is what's making us square root it. So we're going to raise to that power. We're going to raise to the power of 2. Okay? So remember, if you square and square root, it's going to cancel. But since I squared this side, I'm also going to need to square the other side. Okay? So we're going to square this side as well. And we're going to get the square root and squared cancels. We're going to have 7x minus 17 is going to be equal to 5 squared is 25. So we have 7x minus 17 equals 25. And now we're just going to solve for x, okay, just like we've been doing. So that's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to add 17 to both sides. I'm going to get 7. I'm going to get 7x equals 25 plus 17 is 42. Then we're just going to solve for x. Divide this side by 7, divide this side by 7, so x equals 6. All right, so x equals 6. That's our answer. Now, you'll notice this down here. Is there any extraneous solution? Well, is there an extraneous solution? Well, we need to check for extraneous solutions. Extraneous solutions can pop up in a square root because it's just one of those things where it can look like an answer, but it's not actually. So I'm going to take 6. We just plug it back in real quick, and we just check. We just go, the square root of 7 times 6 minus 17 equals 5. 7 times 6 is 42. 42 minus 17 is 25. And the square root of 25 equals 5. So, is there an extraneous solution? No, certainly not. X equals 6 is the correct answer. Okay, let's take a look here at number 2. So with number 2, we have 2 square roots, one on each side. And they are both already solved for. So this one, I can get rid of both the square roots in one fell swoop. All I need to do is square each side. So I'm going to square this side, and I'm going to square this side. Okay, so 2x plus 5 squared square root and squared cancel. So I'm just left with 2x plus 5. And the square root and squared cancel over here, so I just have x plus 7. Then we just simplify, okay? So I'm just going to go, we're going to combine like terms, bring things over. So I'm just going to minus x, minus 5, that cancels, 2x minus x is x, 7 minus 5 is 2. So we get an answer of x equals 2. Now, we can take that answer of x equals 2, and I can plug it back in to check and see if there's an extraneous solution. We don't want any of that. So we're going to go the square root of 2 times 2 plus 5, and we're going to ask, does that equal the square root of 2 plus 7? All right, that's the question we're asking. So we're going to go, okay, 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 5 is 9. And over here, 2 plus 7 is also 9. And the square root of 9 is 3. The square root of 9 is 3. So these equal. So is there extraneous solutions? No. There's no extraneous solution, okay? X equals 2 is a correct answer. Okay, let's try number 3. Number 3, we have 7 plus 4 square roots of x equals 3. Okay, so once again, first step, isolate the square root. So I have this square root. We need to get it by itself. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move this 7 over to this side. And I'm going to get 4 square roots of x equals negative 4. I'm going to divide this side by 4, divide this side by 4, and I'm going to get the square root of x equals negative 4 divided by 4 is negative 1. Okay, then we need to get rid of this square root. And so to get rid of that square root, we're going to square. We're going to raise to the power of the index. So we're going to raise to the power of 2. So that square root and that square root cancel, gives me just x. And I also need to square this side. Now, negative 1 is a positive 1. So there you go, x equals 1. However, I think there might be an extraneous solution on this one because we can't have a square root equal a negative. So let's plug this back in and see if it actually works out, okay? So we're going to take our original equation, we're going to plug this in. So I'm going to go 7 plus 4 times the square root, and we're checking 1, so we're going to plug in 1 for x, equals 3. Okay, well the square root of 1 is 1. 1 times 4 is 4. Uh-oh. 4 plus 3, it's not looking good, is it? 4 plus 3 is 11. 11 doesn't equal 3. So this is one of those examples of where we get an extraneous solution. It's possible to get an extraneous solution if we have a square root that equals a negative. So if you ever see just a square root by itself equal a negative, you might get an extraneous solution. In fact, you probably will. So this one, we're going to say yes. And we're going to say x cannot equal 1. That's my extraneous solution. Okay? All right, let's take a look here at number 4. So, number 4, we have the square root of x equals x minus 6. Well, my square root is already isolated, right? So, we're going to raise to the power of the index. We're going to square both sides. I'm going to square this side and square this side. So, we're going to have x by itself here equals x minus 6 squared. Now, hold on. I have a lot of work to do to solve this, don't I? If I have x minus 6 squared, that means I need to work that out. So let's do that. We're going to get x minus 6 times x minus 6. So we're going to go x times x is x squared. X times negative 6 is negative 6x. Negative 6 times x is negative 6x. And negative 6 times negative 6 is going to be a positive 36. Now, all of this equals x, right? So now let's combine like terms. Negative 6x and negative 6x make negative 12x. Let's bring this x over to the other side. That way we can set it all equal to 0. So we're going to have 0 equals x squared minus 13x plus 36. Okay, then we need to work out with our x and our plus, factor it, and find our two answers. Okay, so we're going to factor it. Remember to factor, we draw our x and our plus, right? So we're going to draw our x and our plus. On top of my x goes a times c. So we're going to have a 36 on top, because this is my a is 1, my b is negative 13, my c is 36. We're going to have a 36 on top, a negative 13 on bottom. So now I need to think of two numbers that multiply to equal 36, positive 36. but add to equal negative 13. Okay, so I'm going to be thinking of, well, let's see, factors that go into 36. Well, we have 18 and 2. 18 and 2, no, that's not going to work. Oh, what about 9 and 4? 9 and 4 will work, right? So we could have, as our factors, we could have negative 9 and negative 4. Negative 9 times negative 4 is a positive 36. Negative 9 plus negative 4 is negative 13. Okay, so we'll have x minus 9 and x minus 4 as my factors. Okay, so remember, to solve this, we set each of my factors equal to 0. So we go x minus 9 equals 0 and x minus 4 equals 0. So we've got two answers. X equals 9 or x equals 4. Okay, two answers. Well, there can only be one true answer to a square root. Well, sometimes there's more. Anyways, one of these is probably extraneous. It's possibly extraneous. So we're going to take both of them. We're going to take them both and plug them back in and see which ones work. Okay, so let's do that. Our first one, 9. Let's plug 9 in. We're going to go the square root of 9 equals x minus 6. Is going to equal 9 minus 6. And we're going to see if this works. Square root of 9 is 3. And then 9 minus 6 is also 3. So that checks out. So x equals 3 gets a good check mark. Okay, now let's try 4 and plug that in. Let's go to the square root of 4 equals 4 minus 6. All right, well, the square root of 4 is 2. 4 minus 6 is negative 2. Close, but no cigar. 2 does not equal negative 2. So x equals 4 is extraneous. Okay, so we actually write x cannot equal 4. Okay? All right, so that is our notes. I wanted to take a moment, though, and I wanted to go over one with us on our homework. So I'm going to pull up our homework for today's lesson, okay? And I wanted to go over number 4 with you. All right, so number 4, we have 6 square roots of x equals square root of 6x plus 15. This is on your homework. So listen, even though this square root right there, that square root right there isn't isolated, there's a 6 there, there's nothing I can do. This other side's already filled up with the square root. So what we do is we have to start off by square rooting both sides, okay? So I'm going to square this side to cancel out my square roots. Now, when I square this side, I also need to square my 6, okay? So my 6 is going to become 36, and my square root of x is just going to stay as an x. So it's going to be 36x equals, and the square root of 6x plus 15 is just going to be 6x plus 15. And then we just solve it normal, okay? Since my square cancel here, and my square root and square cancel here, we're going to minus 6x, and we're going to get 30x equals 15. Solve for x, divide both sides by 30, and we're going to get x equals 1/2, okay? So that's what happens whenever you have a number attached that you can't really do anything with. Just go ahead and square that number too. Okay, so then we're going to plug it back in and check to make double sure. So we go 6 times the square root of 1/2 equals the square root of 6 times 1/2 plus 15. Okay, this is where a calculator comes into play. It's very difficult for me to find the square root of 1/2. It's not a perfect square, right? But we can work it out. We can go 6 times the square root of, I'm just going to plug in 0.5 to make it easier. And that gives me like 4.2426. Okay, and then I can also work this out. 6 times 1/2 is 3. And then 3 plus 15 is going to be 18. So then we can use our calculator again and do second square root of 18. And the square root of 18 is also 4.2426. So even though it doesn't work out perfectly, we still get a perfect answer. All right? The square roots of both of these equal, so are there extraneous solutions? No. All right, that was just one that I wanted to show you real quick to help you out in your homework. There's only 5 more problems left. Please, as always, let me know if you have any questions. I'll be happy to help.